What is up, everybody? It's Zachary Reality, and welcome to Zachary Reality. We are here with the reality with the king, Mr. Carlos King. Carlos, I love your podcast. I've listened to so many of your Housewives interviews. You are so good at what you do, so I'm so excited to pick your brain today.
Good to see you, Zachary. How you been?
I've been good. It's been a busy week in Bachelor Nation, so I'm a little beat if I'm going to be honest.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure this one's painless.
Well, I mean, we get to talk about the Housewives today, so I'm excited about that.
Good, let's do it.
Let's do it. But I do want to start off with Love and Marriage Detroit. I know that you are the executive producer of the new season, so tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Love and Marriage Detroit, we're venturing off into our second season. It airs Saturday, 8 o'clock, 7 Central on OWN. It's the third installment from the Love and Marriage franchise. We have Huntsville, DC, and now Detroit. And it's about these amazing Black couples in Detroit, Michigan, who have, friendships with people that are a little bit, icy, dicey, and spicy. And we also dive into their marital stuff at home as well. So it's a well-rounded show, and I'm super thrilled for the audience to watch it.
I love that. So you're involved obviously heavily in these shows. Do you get to kind of pick which city? Are you involved in casting? Like, what is kind of like your goal with this franchise?
Yeah, no, I'm involved in it all from soup to nuts. I do casting, I work with the networks as it relates to selecting the city. So it's a collaboration between the network and myself.
What's the drama this season? Like, what can you kind of tease us about? I'm sure there's going to be so much, but give me a little tease on what we can expect.
We have a couple named Brendan and Christina, so you get to dive into what they're going through in their marriage. They're currently going through a separation. It leads to conversation of a divorce, so we get to see how that plays out. And then, there's a new cast member named Kimberly and her husband Marcel, and there's some drama happening when a past issue is brought to light in the first episode.
Oh, so it's going to start off with a bang.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you have to. We got to get the folks talking. So, yes, the first episode starts off with a bang, and then, honey, it leads into the finale. So it's good.
When these couples sign up for shows like this, like they obviously know they're going to be involved in a lot of drama. Do you think they're usually prepared for what they're about to expect, or do things just kind of come up throughout filming?
I think a little bit of both. Listen, I think anybody in this day and age who ventures off into reality television, they know what to expect in terms of like, okay, we signed up to talk about our real life. There could be some drama or not in the sense of like what they're going to talk about. But I think they know primarily what they're signing up for, but they're never ready until it happens, because you can prepare yourself as much as you want to and do all the research in the world. But it's not until you are like in the mix where you're like, oh, wowzers, what did I get myself into?
Yeah. And I think it's always amazing to see how you create such good relationships with a lot of these housewives and people from Love and Marriage, but you are also behind the scenes and you want a good TV show. How do you maintain that relationship and keep that level of trust?
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, I'm honest. I think that's the number one rule as a producer. You have to be honest. And my philosophy was always, why would I lie to you and I have to see you tomorrow? Like I never understood why people would just lie when they're working together, because you have to work with everybody. So the reason why I have a great relationship with my cast, past and present, is because they know like Carlos is going to tell us the truth, whether or not we like it or not. Like, he's going to tell us the truth. They respect it. And at the end of the day, all of my cast, past and present, the one thing they will say is like, Carlos is a great producer.
For sure. Absolutely. I was reading some of the book that you were a part of, the All Diamond and Rose book.
Yeah, it's by my friend Dave Quinn.
So juicy. So juicy.
Yeah.
I'm so curious when you decided to leave Bravo and kind of start venturing onto your own projects like Love and Marriage Detroit. Like, when did that happen and why was that what you decided to do?
Yeah, so I started the production company in 2012 in terms of creating it. And I always knew that I wanted to have my own production company. I'm such an entrepreneur and I always have been. So I knew that was the road that I wanted to venture off into. So it wasn't until I completed season 6 of Atlanta Housewives that I was like, okay, that season was and still is the highest rated season of Bravo history with any show. That gave me the confidence to begin my own shingle. So I did that, and I wanted to be somebody that was involved in the completion of the shows that I was doing. So I wanted to have a seat at the table and do that in a way that just felt like I was a part of making history.
Yeah, and I feel like with you, it's like you really got to work. You worked your way up. Like you started from producing, and like look at you now. So it's like you just never stopped, and you've been doing this for so long. What is like your ultimate goal? I mean, I'm sure you're living your dream now, but and you probably have so much that you're planning. But like, is there something that you really want to do or that you're striving for?
Listen, I want to conquer it all, honey. I want to, listen, I'm called the king of reality television. So I want to be the king of all media. Starting the podcast has been super fun
Mhm.
and super thrilling to like win awards, have nominations, and the guests have been great. Going to number 1 upon the
Mhm.
first week of launch 2 years ago. So that's been fun and fascinating. I'm nominated for an Emmy. So
Congrats.
thank you so much. There's a lot that I want to accomplish. So I'm the king of reality TV, but I want to be the king of all media.
I love that. Well, let's talk about your podcast since I am a fan and I love your interviews. You really get to it. How are you able to get it off the ground so quickly? I feel like you grew really fast. Obviously, you have the background, you have the connections, but you're also really good at talking to people. So, kind of, how did you really put it together and get it to the top, you know?
Oh, Zachary, it's so funny. It feels like yesterday that I started it. We started the podcast 2 years ago. And prior to that, I was approached to do a podcast so many times. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. I want to like build Kingdom Reign, my production company. And I just had so much other stuff going on at the time. So it wasn't until I was approached by a producer named Jasmine Henley Brown, who is a raindrop.
Mhm.
And she said, she wanted to figure out how to work together. Long story short, the podcast happened and it was a lot of work. It was a 3-person team, myself, Jasmine, and a producer named Sierra. It was just the 3 of us.
Mhm.
When we shot to number 1 within the first week of launch, we all like cried and it was such a special moment. But a lot of that was because I didn't realize that I was sort of like one of the missing pieces of conversations in the podcasting world.
Mhm.
So, like you said earlier, my start doing Housewives and doing these big shows, Jersey and Atlanta, and knowing Nene and Teresa Giudice, like 2 icons,
Mhm.
it allowed people to get a different point of view of reality television and recapping the shows and doing these interviews. So that was fun to realize that I was a much needed voice. And even now, like doing the Alexis and John interview from OC, like did really, 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 really well for the podcast. And a lot of people had a lot to say. So it's been good to have reality stars go on a platform where they feel like he's going to ask me the questions. He's going to be unbiased. He's
Mhm.
going to keep it real. And we respect him. And
Mhm.
that's been super fun to watch.
And you're also gonna get right to it. Like, there's no time to
Yes,
waste. We gotta get the tea. So
yes.
let's get it.
Especially that. Yes.
Yeah. Can we run down some of the housewives and kind of get your hot takes on what's going
Yeah,
on
of
right now?
course. Mhm.
I do want to start off with Atlanta. What were your thoughts when Kenya left the show? Do you think she's going to be a part of the new season at all, or are they going to cut her out completely?
I really don't know, Zachary. I have no idea. There's been lots of conversations with no confirmations.
Hmm.
I like to talk about confirmations, right? So I don't know that part, but what I will say is Kenya Moore is an icon. She's a
Hmm.
legend. She's my friend,
Hmm.
my sister. I love her dearly and I always want what's best for her. So what I will say is she's doing fine. She and I spoke recently. She came on season 5 of Atlanta Housewives and shook the tree. She's such an icon and a legend that I'm gonna be sad not watching her in the shows. So it's gonna be a little sad for me.
No, me too. I used to hate her so much, like with a passion. It took me a very long time to really love her and appreciate her and find
I
her
was gonna say
so
it's the
entertaining.
appreciation. You have to appreciate what she brings to the show. That's the thing.
You cannot deny that she brings so much. So I'm curious what happened and if they'll address it at all in the new season. I would have liked to see her there, but if she's did what people accused her of, then maybe it was the right decision. So time will tell. Do you think that we'll ever get the Real Housewives of Morocco trip, the one that was completely cut? Do you think that will ever make it to air?
It's so tricky because I think it's illegal land still. So it's not likely just based on that to me. There's a lot of legalities in that situation. So I wouldn't hold my breath too much on that one, but I would have loved to see it. It was a great cast of women, and I'm such a fan of Camille Grammer. So I wanted to see Camille Grammer, so
Oh
I'm a little
yeah.
sad about that.
I think that there's so many years, right, of life. Like they could play it in 10 years and people will still
And
care.
I would still watch it as if it was shot yesterday. So I agree with you.
I think when you're like a fan of a franchise, like you're almost a fan for life. And that's why we see all these reboots come back even like
Yeah,
10 years later, because the fans will always be there if they were invested in the first place.
very true. I could not agree with you more.
Do we think Nene Leakes could ever return to Atlanta Housewives?
Well, look, I'm a firm believer in never say never. Anything is possible. We see Phaedra's having a great resurgence,
Mm,
right? Anything is possible. Nene's another one, an icon, a legend, a friend of mine, personal friend of mine who I love. I would love to see her back. She's such a force multiplier that she's missed.
yes.
Me and the fans love watching her on the show.
I love all the Atlanta Housewives. They're such good TV. Every single one of them it's fascinating to watch them. And I'm
Yeah.
also here for Phaedra's return. I mean, I loved her on Traitors. Do we think she's going to do good in the ballroom? I think she is. I think she has the
Phaedra can
personality.
dance. Phaedra
Yeah.
can dance. Phaedra has moves. She has rhythm. She's a Scorpio, so she's competitive. So
Mm,
I think she's gonna do very well, and I think she's gonna go far. Phaedra can
absolutely.
dance. So and she has a good. And to me, because I'm such a fan of Dance with the Stars, the other secret to that show is your partner. So her dance partner is like really good too.
Oh yeah. But I also think because Phaedra is so funny that like she's going to make people laugh every episode, which is why people are going to vote for her.
Yes,
Just
I
because
agree.
she's funny. Like it's that simple. Who
Yes.
else? Who else are you excited to see on Dancing with the Stars this season? Since you said you're watching.
Oh, Tori Spelling.
Mm,
We follow each other on Instagram. I love me some Tori Spelling. So I'm rooting for Phaedra and I'm rooting for Tori Spelling.
okay, I'm also excited to see Anna Delvey and the ankle bracelet of it all.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
a
I,
little
I want to see
controversial.
like who she is, right? So that'll be interesting to see.
Let's talk Jersey for a second. Obviously, we're going on this huge pause. What do you want to see when they finally come back? Let's say in 6 months they start shooting. I'll say that if they women can find resolution, I would actually want to bring them all back because I think they're all important. But if they actually can't, then I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately. I
Mm,
agree with you. I think all of those women are great and great housewives and bring so much to the show. No secret, I'm a huge fan of Teresa, who's also my friend. So I want to see Teresa back. I've been very vocal about that. I think she's the face of the show to me and the world. But I think she's just so great to watch and she gives so much to the show that I can't see the show without Teresa.
I'm a tree hugger, Carlos.
Oh, okay, yeah. Represent.
I love Teresa. She's my favorite housewife of all time, actually, if I had to pick one.
Oh, and the thing
Mhm.
about her that you'll appreciate, Zachary, she's very nice.
Yes, she is. I've met her a couple times. I think she's
Okay, so you got to
fabulous.
experience that. Okay, good.
Yes, and Gia, and
Yeah, my
I
girl.
haven't met Melania yet, but maybe one
Oh, she's
day.
the best. She's the best. Love Melania. She's a firecracker.
But the thing about Teresa is I feel like this last season, she kind of shot herself into the ground. She burned a lot of bridges, almost all of her bridges, except for Jennifer Aiden, who was, allegedly leaking screeners, which could get her fired. So it really makes it hard for Teresa to continue on the show if she has no friends.
Well, she's still friends with Dolores.
I know, but that's only one person, and they already have a rift now.
They have a rift. I don't think they
It's
have it. They
I mean, it
do.
seems like it on the watch party they did at Rails. They were kind of like a little
Well, no,
awkward.
one thing, see, this is the thing, because a lot of people accuse me of like kissing Teresa's ass, right? And I always tell them like Teresa likes people who stand up for themselves and give her
Mm,
pushback if necessary. So when I saw Dolores, and I said the same thing on my podcast, like Louis was wrong for making that comment about
mhm.
Margaret's child. And obviously, Teresa initial reaction is defending my husband, which a lot of
Mhm.
wives do. But then she conceded and said, okay, you're right. He'll apologize,
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I love about Teresa. She's able to take constructive criticism. She may not immediately get it because she's a human being and
Mhm,
she's been hurt so much that
mhm.
of course she has no choice but to take everything personally because a lot of what's given to her is personal, right?
Yeah.
So I love that dynamic between her and Dolores. And I thought Dolores did a great job of like speaking the truth.
Yeah. I mean, I wanna see Teresa on, but then Melissa needs to go, and so does Margaret, because she's driving me crazy. Um, let's talk Orange County. It's happening right now. I am
Mhm.
really anticipating the John Jansen of it all. I can't wait for him to pop up on camera. I hope that he is in a room with Alexis and Shannon during a party. How do you think the second half of the season is going to go?
Great. I'm already enjoying the first half, or enjoyed it for that matter. So I love this season. It has not been a filler episode at all so far this season,
Hmm.
and everyone is clocked in. And my favorite is Gina. I'm loving Gina. It's her season to me, and I'm loving her and Emily. I'm loving Heather.
Hmm. And
I'm loving.
Jennifer Petranti, she's so funny.
Oh yeah, no, I told so me and Tamara are also friends, and I told Tamara last season, I said, I like this Jennifer. You do? I said, yeah, I think she's a great housewife. So I love the entire cast, and I think all of them are doing such great work.
Hmm. I just want to know how much Jennifer Petranti is making from Bravo because I'm so tired of talking about how poor she is, and now she's on TV. She could try and make some money on Instagram. Like, what advice would you have for her?
Be an influencer, get a Fashion Nova contract, and start like selling merch.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned your interview with Alexis and John, and I'm not sure if I caught it all. I think I did, but can you kind of share some of the highlights from that interview and some of the biggest things that they had to say?
Yeah, so I interviewed Alexis. We were talking, and then John emerged in the
Yes.
background, and I was able to get him
Emerged.
on the microphone. So what happened was we were able to really talk about the Shannon Bador of it all. And he talked about whether or not he felt that Shannon was still in love with him. He talked about what it was like being in a relationship with her, defending what he called the lies that she spewed. So he really tells his truth and was able to have a platform to do so. So it's definitely worth the listen.
Hmm.
He addresses everything.
Yeah, he should not be asking her for money. Like, that's too much. Like, move on. John Jansen wants to be on the show, and he is
He
living
addresses
for it.
that too, Zachary. I'll give you an not an exclusive, it's already out there, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give you an excerpt what he said. He said that he was asked to do the entire season and said no. And he only did one episode, I think. Don't call me on the one episode, but he only appeared because of Alexis. But
Mm.
I was told that it's not a lot of appearances. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. He's one of sometimes people get mentioned so much, right? Like even that one season of Jersey, it was Laura, Laura, Laura. Like put her on the show
Oh
then. Give her a
yeah. Oh
scene. Just
yeah.
give her something, if they're gonna mention her
I
so
forgot about
much.
that one.
Are you more excited for New York Housewives to come back or Salt Lake City?
I'll say New York. I really enjoyed the first season, by the way. I love the cast.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're great. I think Brynn is a star.
Mm,
I think she's a great personality. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll say New York. You know, Monica Garcia not being back on Salt Lake City stings a bit,
mm-hmm.
but I'm willing to watch the first episode and see if I'm going to stay tuned for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm so excited for both of those shows. I was so mad at Monica too at the time, but then after a couple months, I was like, wait, we actually need her back.
I love Monica.
So
She's
she's
great
such good
TV.
TV, such good TV. Where else would you put Monica? Let's say you're casting a show. Where do you want to see her?
Traders.
Yes.
I can see her in Traders.
Okay,
And
maybe.
I can see her as a bachelorette.
She has a boyfriend though.
Does she?
Yeah, she
Okay. Well,
does.
let's see. Okay, so if not the bachelorette, because she's in a relationship, I'll say Traders, Big Brother.
Mm,
Yeah, I can see her in a lot of things. She's great talent.
for sure. She's so good. She's so good. Are you gonna watch the Mormon Wives, the Secret Wives of Mormon Lives
It's funny. So I think it's out
today?
now,
Yeah.
right? So this weekend, there's a couple of things I gotta watch. Selling Sunset is back. So I gotta
Yeah.
watch Selling Sunset. I gotta watch that. I gotta watch Bel on Peacock. I have to watch Fight Night on Peacock. I have to watch the third episode this weekend of The Perfect Couple on Netflix. I have like a
Oh.
busy schedule.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I may squeeze it in this weekend, but I'm definitely gonna. I have to watch it. I heard good things about it, so.
Yeah, I mean, you can always tune in eventually. A week late, 2 weeks late. The Selling Sunset, I want to watch too, but it's kind of at the bottom of my list because
Okay, is it?
I'm really excited for this Mormon show. Like, I think it's going to be so
Have you
good.
seen it yet?
No, not yet, but
Okay.
I'm planning on watching it this weekend. Let's talk about social life and balance. Obviously, you watch a lot of TV, you cover a lot of TV. How often are you going out and enjoying yourself and putting the phone down?
You know what? I think I'm gonna do better at like putting the phone down, right? Going out more.
Hmm.
I'm a workaholic. I'm always busy. But I need to balance it out more. I'm a Libra, so I'm all about like the scales and balances of it all. So I wish I was like, this person that was able to like figure it out all at once. So that has been a challenge for me,
Mhm.
but I'm going to do better because I've already started like putting things in place for that to happen. So starting next year,
Mhm.
I know for a fact I have way more of a balanced life.
Yeah, because you gotta let them miss you too, right? Like, "Oh, I'm not online today," or "Not online
Oh
this
no,
afternoon."
it's so funny you said that. So I'm not as active on social media as I used to be, like
Mhm.
especially on Twitter. Somebody tweeted me 2 days ago and said, "Is Carlos doing the mute challenge?"
Mhm.
I
Yeah, it's I mute you.
said, "Okay, do you miss me?" So
So are you creating content on, like, all of your platforms, or are you really just focusing on the podcast and your YouTube channel?
no, all of the platforms. I want to be the king of all media. So I gotta like, figure
Mhm.
things out from all areas. So that's definitely the plan here, podcasting and still developing, creating unscripted content and venturing off into other categories. Like I said, I'm nominated for an Emmy for a documentary we produced with HBO called The Stroll,
Mm.
which you guys can watch on Max. So also wanting to do more documentaries. So we're definitely trying to like have more content come out to you guys in different categories outside of just like unscripted.
Yeah, that's cool to
Yeah.
venture off into not everything's reality, but I feel like it all sometimes is.
Listen, even if it ain't reality, honey, everything is the reality of something.
It's still juicy,
Yes.
for sure. Let me know what else you're working on before I let you go and what else you want to plug.
Yeah, so we have Love and Marriage Detroit, which is premiering this Saturday. Every Saturday, you can watch it at 8 o'clock, 7 Central on the Oprah Winfrey Network. And my podcast, Reality with the King, drops every Tuesday,
Mhm.
Apple, Spotify, and I have a YouTube channel where we also do a lot of other exclusive one-on-one interviews. So you can follow me on that platform. Everything is at the Carlos King _. So type that in. You can find me everywhere.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. It was so nice to chat with you. Keep up the good work, and I am excited to see more of your interviews coming up.
Thank you, Zachary. I really appreciate it, man.
Of course. Bye.
Bye bye.